The good news is I think you'll find this course fun and exciting, dare I say. The bad news is it's a 400 level course and I'm going to expect you to do a lot. I'm going to have you writing code that I can't debug, so you're going to be on your own. So that'll be fun. Awesome. Let us start with, what did I publish up here in the files? So we have a reference section up there that has our good old Programming 117 ASP SQL book, just as a reference, because it does talk about SQL, programming SQL, and some other things that you may want to refer back to. We have a syllabus I'm going to look through. This is an online SQL book, which I put up there just as a reference. So if you open that text file, it's a link to an online SQL book. It's pretty useful if you need to look something up. Now, everybody here has used Virtual Server, right?
Server?
VirtualBox.
Oh, VirtualBox.
Yeah, VirtualBox.
Oh, yeah, it's different.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, so if you open that up, which I'd like you to do, it points to that URL. I'm really hoping if you cut and paste that into your browser, it'll start loading down 5 gigabyte VM that I want you to run. And the way, I don't know if it works with these kind of files. If it was pictures and stuff, there are web caches so that actually it's actually pretty efficient when 11 people trying to download at the same time. But this being a binary file, I'm not sure it'll work so well, so it might be painfully slow. But has it started to download? Has anybody tried? Okay, good. I've never tried to do this before. I usually would walk in with DVDs or zip drives, but there's too many of them. Okay, so you'll want this probably for your home computer too. So this is a version of Ubuntu or Ubuntu, whatever it is, that I stole from Charlie once a long time ago. And then I upgraded it to to get it current a couple of weeks ago. And then I installed something called Tues, which is a painful and torturous process. And it's not quite perfect yet. The system's not perfect. There's probably pieces of software you'll want on there that aren't on there. I can't remember if Part1 is on there. If I told you to write a JavaScript program, what would you use as a IDE? Would you use Aptana, or do you use that other thing that starts with an E?
Sublime.
Huh?
Sublime is another one.
Oh,
Are you talking about Eclipse?
Yeah, Eclipse.
Eclipse is Aptana, isn't it? Essentially, Aptana is a plug-in in Eclipse.
I have no idea.
You use WebStorm?
Store.
Oh, Charlie's been using something called WebStorm. Crap, I don't even know
I
WebStorm.
hear Sublime is really good.
It's produced by the same company, Eclipse and WebStorm. It's all JetBrains.
We get free student licenses.
All right. So this is a URL with a VM that you need to download on. If you're only going to use your own machine, you only need to download once. If you're going to use the school computer and your own computer, you'll need to download it in both places. I don't think it's installed on there, but I personally installed Dropbox on this image, my own copy, and then I can get stuff to and from it between systems. All right, so we won't need that today, but since it takes so long to download, I wanted to get started on that. Any question on that? Okay, so I'm going to close that. And that's all for reference. So now let's get into the introduction. What do we got? Good grief, look at all this stuff. All right, here's a course outline intro doc. Let's hope that is what I think it is. Yes, it is. Okay, good. So I'm going to open that locally so I don't. Okay, week 1, get one toe. Yeah, started. So hopefully you've done that. I would like you, it's not required, but I would like you to sit beside somebody, and then when we're trying to do something in class and yours doesn't work, I'd like you to lean over and look at theirs and help each other, okay? That will be much more efficient than me going around trying to help each of you. Okay, so now I want to review the syllabi, which I will open up here, which is probably back up in reference. That does not look right at all. That is an old one. I hope that's not what I have up on the website. Let's go to the website. Reference. Good. Okay. So I got the right one on the website. So, first thing is office hours. I teach classes back to back to back from like 10:30 in the morning until this class is over on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you won't get me on those days. But Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm around all the time. I really prefer you'd send an email to me and set up an appointment so that I make sure I'm there and I'm not busy with something else. But I'm very, very flexible if you want to come talk about anything or help with anything. I'm going to be here every Friday, well, almost every Friday. There's a few conflicts, but almost every Friday. And I've opened that up to 2 other classes. And I just show up and people ask questions, and I go through PowerPoint, or I go to their stations and help them with their code. You're welcome to come to those as well. It'd be nice if your picture was actually a picture of you. This says what the course is supposed to be, but we'll go through that in PowerPoint. There's no textbook. What did I say about the grading? Okay, so there's going to be some number of homeworks, of which I'm not going to throw away the low score. I'm going to grade them all. And that's going to roll out to be 70% of your grade. And then there's going to be a class project, which is 30% of your grade. There is no final test. This will be due around the time of the final. What this is going to be is I'll show you what we're going to do, but we're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to take one piece of data, we're going to go through a bunch of different systems, okay? And learn a bunch of different systems. And what I'm going to want you to do for your class project is to come up on your own with your own project that demonstrates using those same things. So, but we'll talk much more about that as we get closer to assigning that. Yeah, that's really great. I have no idea why Microsoft can't make that work better. I have nasty grading policy here, which is if you're late within a day, you lose 30%. And if you're late 3 days, you lose 50%. And if you're 2 weeks late or less, it's 70%. And after that, you get 0. So homework done. If you don't remember, the way I do it is if you submit your homework early, I often, but not always, will look it over, and if I see something wrong, I will send mail back to you and say, this is wrong, fix it, and you can resubmit it for no loss of points. I will generally give you a 1 scores. I give you a 1, which is a flag so that you get a notification that your grade has been entered, and then you'll know to go look for the comment. The 1 is not an indication of the quality of your work. You could turn in a homework early that is 99.9% perfect, and I would make a comment that you forgot to cross a T, and then I would give you a 1. It's just the flag. And then if you resubmit it, and there's still a little problem, I'll send another comment back, and then I'll change that 1 to a 2. So that becomes a counter of how many times we've exchanged, but that's it. And I'm just using it as an alert system. After the homework is due, I will grade it and give it a real grade. So don't have a heart attack if you do a beautiful job and you see a 1 show up. Okay? I will give you lots of pointers about what's not working and maybe some hints, but I won't actually debug your code. If you're totally stuck and you want to send me mail and say, I can't figure this out, give me a fix for this bug, I'll fix it and send it back to you. But you'll now be at a 90% because I helped you that dramatically. I can't imagine anybody should ever have to resort to that because I can usually give you enough helpful hints that you can figure it out. There's all this text that's in most of them, and it's good text. If you're having any difficulties with the class, the school, other people, safety, anything, read through any of, well, certainly any of my syllabi, because it has lots of places to go for help. Our last class is Thursday, June 9th. And the course project that's not right. I wanted that to be subtract 7 from that. That would be a 5. I wanted that. It's not going to be that. Oh, jeez. I know. I'll fix that later, but I wanted to be due late Sunday night, the week the finals start, so that I have that week of finals to grade. Okay, that's it. Any questions on any of that? So now we're out of reference, and we're in the introduction, and back to my course outline. Review syllabus. Okay, now this is an important thing. I don't know what you're running for SQL, but you can install SQL and it gives you a choice of what all you want to install. Okay. You need to have all 3 chunks. Part of it is SQL Server, which is a SQL engine that spits out SQL commands. There's something called analysis services, which you use for doing BI. And then there's something called SQL Server Integration Services, which lets you import data into SQL and export data out of SQL, okay? So your version of SQL has to support all of those things, okay? I'm sure the one in the school does. I'm curious how you can tell, if you can tell. And part of that is you have to be careful when you start it. Like if I run SQL Server Management Studio, which is here, see it says server type database engine. If I click down here, I can also check, and it's really a whole complete different subsystem of SQL. I can say, no, I want to go into analysis services, which is what you do with BI. You build data cubes and you do complex data analysis, which we will do. And then there's reporting services, which you do for doing reports. We're not going to touch that. And then there's integration services, which we will use because we're going to export data out of our Linux system into our Windows system. Okay. So if you start your SQL Server and you don't see at least 3 of those 4 choices, you're going to have to install a new one and take all those choices. Yes, sir.
Is that on DreamSpark?
Yeah, you can go to DreamSpark and get, and I believe, I'm pretty sure you can run SQL Express, the free one, off the web. And I think it has all those things in it, but it may not, I'm not sure.
The one on the school machines doesn't have
I'll do 2 checks.
Oh, no, mine does, yours just doesn't.
Okay.
Oh, open the 2000.
You won't need that for a couple weeks, but you will need it. And then the other thing which you never had to think about before is whenever you open up SQL Server Management Studio, you can have 2 databases that have the same, you can have like Northwind, both in your SQL Server and in your BI server, and you can get yourself all confused. So whenever you open up SQL Server Management Studio, you gotta say to yourself, am I doing classic SQL or am I doing BI work? And make sure you point to the right engine. You need to have VirtualBox and VirtualBox extensions. Hopefully you already have that from Charlie's classes. One of the reasons it's going to be hard for me to give you really detailed help with your homework all the time is a lot of times you're going to have quite a bit of flexibility on how you do it. So I'm going to have, whatever, 10 or 11 different projects. It's not like they're all going to be all cookie cutters. 4, 5, well, we now have 10 people. That's good. Only missing 1.
Do we need to have 14 or 16 or just which version do we need? What SQL Server version?
I think any SQL Server version. I think even 2008 might work, but it would certainly be good if you had 12 or something more recent. I think I'm only running 12. Okay, so I'm going to go through this PowerPoint called Course Phases, which will give you an overview of the course. So I'm going to go here, intro. There it is. Okay, it turns out you're going to need this PowerPoint for your first assignment, but without getting too much into the details, you're going to build a client, some kind of a JavaScript client. And the client's going to run, and it's going to act as though random people in random cities bought random music CDs. And it's going to create 450 of these purchase records. Okay? And this gets into the details of what the data should look like, but we'll come back to that when it gets time to get serious about this. Okay. Then you will, as you create these orders, you'll be pushing them up to a VirtualBox, so you'll actually run the client on the VirtualBox as well. And you'll have a running version of Node.js, which is going to take these records as they come in, and it's going to write them into MongoDB. Have you used MongoDB before? Good. Because I'm going to need help with that too. And then you'll be putting them in there as key value pairs. So you'll have, the keys will be item number, time purchased, store price paid, and then they'll have the values that you pushed up. Yeah?
Is there a reason we're not using MySQL as a database?
Not particularly, but
Just so we just use Mongo as.
yeah. I don't even know that Mongo, MySQL I think is a SQL database, and Mongo is a document database with key value pairs.
Right.
So I definitely want to